Hi, I'm back with you here on Poem Praise 2. I do thank you for tuning back in. Certainly, peace be upon you. And if you like the extraordinary African Americans that we're going through right now, certainly subscribe to my channel, Poem Praise 2. Now, as I let you know in my previous video, that our next extraordinary African American is Ella Josephine Baker, which is a civil rights activist during the time period of 1903 to 1986. And this is the information I have on Miss Baker. Strong people don't need strong leaders. Ella Josephine Baker. Now, Ella Josephine Baker was born in Norfolk, Virginia, and grew up in Littleton, North Carolina. Her parents stressed the importance of self-help, economic self-sufficiency, and racial pride. After graduating from Shaw University in 1927, Baker moved to New York City. She was appalled at the poverty, hunger, and misery she saw in Harlem and became determined to do something about it. She joined the Young Negroes Cooperative League, whose goal was to achieve economic strength through consumer buying clubs and cooperative grocery stores. She also began working for a government program that promoted literacy among poor and immigrant workers. Though she worked with various women groups, Baker refused to allow others to limit her to women issues. Now, in 1940, Baker became a field director for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP, the leading civil rights organization of the 20th century. Now, the NAACP reliance on legal tactics such as lawsuits to fight discrimination frustrated Baker, who preferred mass participation campaigns such as marches. Now, in 1946, she gave up her staff job with the organization, although she continued to work with it as a president of its New York branch. Now, in 1958, Baker moved to Atlanta, Georgia to coordinate a voter registration campaign being launched by the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the SCLC. Now, the leaders of the group were men who believed in highly structured organization. Baker preferred a looser, less centralized approach. When a student-led sit-in campaign began in Greensboro, North Carolina, Baker left the SCLC to work with the student activists. She organized a conference of youthful sit-in leaders at Shaw University. And this led to the formation of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, the SNCC, pronounced SNCC. Now, SNCC quickly became a leading civil rights organization, working in rural areas to increase African American voter registration. Its student volunteers were frequently the target of the Ku Klux Klan attacks, but they got results. Now, in 1964, Baker helped establish the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, which challenged the all-white Mississippi delegation at the Democratic National Convention in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Now, although they were not seated at the convention, the new party demands forced the Democratic Party to change its rules for future delegates. Baker is sometimes overlooked as a civil rights leader. Although her impact was decisive and far reaching, her faith in ordinary people was well justified because it was ordinary people marching, protesting, voting, and demonstrating that made the civil rights movement a success and changed U.S. history. I would like to thank you. That does bring the information I have on Miss Baker to a close. And I will give you a preview of who's coming up next as our extraordinary African American on Poem Praise 2. Next I have for you is Thurgood Marshall. Now, he was the Supreme Court Justice during the time period of 1908 to 1993. So certainly stay tuned, and I'll be speaking with you real soon regarding our next extraordinary African American. But until you hear from me again, be blessed, all right? All right, and I'm going to holler at you a little later. So, later, y'all. All right.